Hello and welcome, because this is part 2 of me reading starring Tracy Beaker. And I'm sorry last video the quality was so bad because it was so dark in my room. And yeah, so we got up to page 17 and we're going to about 35. Where were we at? Okay. I'll be a ghost, miss. I'm great at scaring people. Look, I'm a headless ghost. I pulled my school jumper over my head and held my arms like claws and went, "Ooh." Silly little Peter Igham squealed in terror and ducked under the desk. See, I can be really convincing, miss, and I can do all sorts of different ghosts. I can do a standard white sheet spooky job, or I can moan and clank chains, or I could paint myself grey all over and be this wafting spirit ghost creeping up on people ready to leap out on them. I leaped out at Weedy Peter just as he emerged from under his desk. He shrieked and ducked, banging his head in the process. Well, you're certainly entering the spirit of things, Tracy, said Miss Simpkins, bending down to rub Peter's head and give the little weed a cuddle. There now, Peter, don't look so scared. It isn't a real ghost, it's only Tracy Beaker. I'm scared of Tracy Beaker, said Peter, even though she's my friend. I wish the little creep wouldn't go around telling everyone he's my friend. It's dead embarrassing. I don't want you to think he's my only friend. I've got heaps and heaps of friends. Well, Louise isn't my best friend anymore. She's totally gone off her head because she wants to be friends with Justine, No Fun at All Littlewood. There's no one in our class who actually quite measures up to my friendship requirements. Hey, I have got a best friend. It's Cam. She comes to see me every Saturday. She's not like my mum, glamorous and beautiful and exciting, but she can sometimes be good fun. She's so my best friend, and Miss Simpkins can be my second best friend at school. Peter's just my friend at the dumping ground, especially at night time when there's no one else around. Peter seemed to be thinking about our nighttime get-togethers too. Promise you won't pretend to be a ghost tonight, Tracy, he whispered anxiously. I'm afraid I can't possibly promise, Peter. I am a child of a famous Hollywood star. I take my acting seriously. I might well have to stay in character and act ghostly all the time, I said. Maybe we'd better cast you as something else, Tracy, said Miss Simpkins. Oh no, please let me be the ghost, I begged. It turned out there were 4 main ghosts in the Christmas Carol and a motley crew of ghostly extras too. There was the ghost of the Christmas past. Let me be the ghost of the Christmas past, Miss Simpkins, I said. No, Tracy, I need to go with long hair to be the ghost of the Christmas past, said Miss Simpkins. She chose Louise. Now there's the ghost of the Christmas present, said Miss Simpkins. Let me be the ghost of the Christmas present, I said. No, Tracy, I need a big jolly boy to be the ghost of the Christmas present, said Miss Simpkins. She chose old Fatty Freddy. Now there's the ghost of Christmas yet to come, said Miss Simpkins. I thought Charles Dickens was meant to be a good writer. He's a bit repetitive when it comes to ghosts, isn't he? I said. Still let me be the ghost of Christmas yet to come? No, Tracy, I need a very tall boy to be the ghost of Christmas yet to come, said Miss Simpkins. She chose this pea-brained boy called Philip who couldn't horn as much as a graveyard. There's just one more main ghost, and that's Marley's ghost, said Miss Simpkins. He whirls and clanks his chains. Oh, I'm a totally terrific whirler and clanker, you know I am. Let me be Marley's ghost, I said. I'm very tempted, Tracy, but perhaps you might want to indulge a tad too much wailing and clanking, said Miss Simpkins. She chose Justine Can't Act for Toffee Littlewood, who can't clank to save her life and barely whimper, let alone give a good ghostly wail. I was severely irritated with Miss Simpkins. I decided she wasn't my friend anymore. I didn't want to be in her stupid play if she didn't pick me to be one of the main ghosts. I didn't want to be one of the no-name extra ghosts or any of the other people. These silly fezzy wigs and cratchits. I turned my back on Miss Simpkins and whistled a festive tune to myself with new lyrics. Jingle bells, Miss Simpkins smells, jingle all the day. Oh, what a fun it is to take part in her stupid play. Now there's only one part left, said Miss Simpkins. Are you listening to me, Tracy? I gave the tiniest shrug, slumping down in my seat. I tried to make it crystal clear that I wasn't remotely interested. I take that as a yes, said Miss Simpkins cheerfully. There's just a part of a crusty old Ebenezer Scrooge himself to cast. Now I'm going to have serious problems. This is the key part of the whole play, the best part, the leading part. I need a consummate actor who isn't fazed by a really big juicy part. One who can act bad temper and meanness and lack of generosity, and yet one can convincingly fall and repent and behave wonderfully after all. I wonder. I sat up straight. I gazed at Miss Simpkins. She surely couldn't mean... You, Tracy Beaker, you'll be my Scrooge, she said. Yay! I bounced up and down in my seat as if I had an India rubber bottom. That's stupid, miss, said Justine. Can't hold her tongue, Littlewood. You can't let Tracy be Scrooge. Why would she get the best part? She just mucks around and doesn't take things seriously. You can't let her be in the play. She'll mess it up for all of us. I'll certainly mess you up, I mumbled. I rushed out my seat right to Miss Simpkins. I take it all dead seriously, Miss Simpkins. I promise you can count on me. And don't be surprised if I turn out unexpectedly brilliant as my mum is a Hollywood movie star making a film one after another. As if, said Louise. I know the only sorts of movies of Tracy Beaker's mum would be in. Blue movies, said Justine. Liar, 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 Littlewood. My fist clenched. I so badly wanted to punch her straight in the nose, but I knew she was just trying to wind me up. Miss Simpkins would lose her temper with me and not let me be her Scrooge after all. Simply raised my eyebrow and hissed a small rebuff along the lines that her dad belonged in a horror movie. Then I turned my back on her and smiled at Miss Simpkins. As I've got the biggest part of the play, you better give me a copy of the play straight away, Miss Simpkins, so I can get to be word perfect. In fact, maybe I ought to be excused for all the boring lessons like literacy and maths, just so I can concentrate on learning my part. Nice try, Tracy. I'm not that much of a pushover, said Miss Simpkins. No, you'll have to learn your part in your own time. I was so anxious to play Scrooge, I learned my lines in other people's time, mostly Cam's. I used up 2 entire Saturdays visiting her to read out all the other parts while I bar humbugged my way through Scrooge. Cam tried almost too hard at first, doing weird voices for all the Christmas ghosts and extremely irritating little boy lifts with Tiny Tim. Hey, I'm the one that's supposed to be acting, not you, I said. Just speak the lines. Look, I'm the adult, aren't I? The one that's supposed to tell you what to do, said Cam, swatting me with the script on the play. Oh no, sorry, I forgot. You're Tracy Beaker, so you get to be the big bossy knickers, right? Absolutely right, Cam. You got it in one. Hey, all this saying lines about sucking pigs and sausages had made me simply starving. Any chance of us going out to McDonald's? I didn't just pester Cam to hear my lines. I got Jenny and Mike at the dumping ground to help me out, though I got dead annoyed when they wanted Justine utter rubbish Littlewood and Louise and Weedy Peter to attend our special rehearsals too. It's not fair. I can't concentrate with all that rabble around, I declared. Let's send them packing. They're all in A Christmas Carol too, Tracy. You're not the only one who needs help with your lines, said Jenny. We can act all out together, said Mike. Trust you to behave like a prima donna, Tracy. Yeah, trust me, because what is the definition of prima donna, Mike? Isn't she the star of the whole show? I rest my case. I even considered commanding Elaine the Pain to help me with my part. She's always encouraging us to looked after kids to role play and act out our angst. So I wondered she might have any useful tips. I'd lost it a little there, as if old Elaine could ever be useful at anything, especially Elaine in Christmas mode, decking our ropey dumping ground with tinsel and homemade paper chains and a pair of wacky rainbow antlers and a bobbin maniacally on her head and a comic relief nose pinching her own. She was wearing a holly berry red knitted jumper and an ivy green skirt, way too tight, and was warbling the words of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Elaine, my social worker, had a very large fat bum, and if you ever saw her, you would scream out loud, "Oh man!" That's a good rhyme. I sang under my breath. Not quite under enough. Elaine heard and got quite irritated. She burbled on about cheek and attitude and silly offensive personal remarks that could be really hurtful. I started to feel a little bit mean. I was even considering saying sorry. Elaine can't help having a huge bum after all. Last page. She said she understood I was feeling tense and anxious because she's heard I'd taken a huge part in our school play when I simply wasn't used to applying myself and being responsible. I stopped feeling even the tiniest bit sorry. I was glad when I heard Elaine say to Jenny, "Look, can I ask you for a really honest answer? Do you think my butt behind looks a bit big in my new skirt?" I decided I would simply rely on myself and learn my part properly and show them all. This was fine and dandy during the day, but not quite so easy at night. I kept having these bizarre nightmares where I was all alone on stage and I kept opening my mouth like a goldfish, but no sound came out at all. I couldn't as much blow a bubble. The audience started getting restless, pelting me with rotten fruit. One